Nikki Snacks Crider, Joe
Right.
DeLeon, Tracy. Now we are live. It is
Yes.
midday on Believe. Take like 1.5. You got the Charity Stripe team here. Joshua Fisher, Alexander Sopoulos, Nikki Snacks Crider, also of the Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. And Nick does the Ring the Bell Pods Talk podcast. You got Tracy Sandler here. Fangirl Network, Tracy Sandler Show, queen of 49ers football. And then you got, last and probably least, Joe DeLeon of Believe in
Thank
NFL
you for
Draft
that very
Prospects.
polite
Always.
introduction. Thanks.
Joe,
Yeah,
I try
he's-
to.
He's the one with the least knowledge on the NFL draft here.
Just for that, I'm going to make the most obnoxious picks and just ruin this whole mock draft.
Good. I'm down to be entertained, honestly, on this fine Wednesday. Here's how we do it by tradition in our show, and we wanted to welcome Tracy and Joe and just do it with them and have some fun. We just rotate pick by pick by pick. So one person has pick 1, someone else pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, and then back to the top because there's 5 of us for pick 6 with whoever had pick 1. If someone's got a favorite team in there, I like the Patriots. Nick likes the Chargers. Toss likes the Cowboys. We tend to give them that team so they get to pick for their team.
Hey, but guess what? I
what?
set the order so we can pick for our teams. It worked out
Nick,
perfectly.
Nice, dude.
There's
Congratulations.
no 49ers pick, unfortunately. So
There's
Sorry.
not.
Doesn't
No, at
really
least
matter for Tracy.
not yet. TBD. We'll see how tomorrow goes.
Joe, you're an Eagles fan?
No, I'm a Giants fan.
Giants fan.
You did inadvertently give me a Giants pick, so we're chilling.
Yeah, nice. You were gonna get 1. You don't deserve 2, but you're down to get 1. Yeah, Tracy. Before we get into the whole draft and do our mock, Tracy, we'll start with you. What are you most excited for about the draft on Thursday?
That's a very good question. I'm excited to see, even though I don't think they will, I'm excited to see if the 49ers do in fact trade Deebo Samuel for some sort of massive package of picks, even though I don't actually think they will. And this will be my first draft covering the team where they don't have a first round pick. So I'm also relatively excited to see what I do tomorrow for 3 hours in the media workroom at Levi Stadium. They feed us and they're still going to feed us tomorrow, but I'm a little bit excited to see what do I do? And I'm going to actually just enjoy the first round of the draft because as of this moment, I don't actually have any work to do during the draft tomorrow.
Well, you got Wordle, you got Quirtle, you can do all those.
Wordle. You got Weddle play, which is the football guessing game. I feel like if this trade is going to happen, it's going to happen before the draft starts. Though they can't. Yes. What else are they going to get Deebo Samuel?
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think it's happening. I don't think they're gonna trade Deebo Samuel. I felt for John Lynch on Monday. He did his pre-draft media availability and he talked for 5 minutes. It was almost a filibuster because normally he's like, hey guys, we're excited about the draft, blah, 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 blah. Let's talk. Here's your questions. I mean, he went on and on and on and on. And then at the end of the filibuster, he was like, so I know you guys are going to ask me a lot of questions about Deebo. I'm not going to really talk about Deebo and we're not talking about Deebo. And then the next 12 consecutive questions were about Deebo. And so I really felt for him the other day. So it'll be interesting. That being said, I don't think they're trading Deebo Samuel.
Very fair. Joe, you are the expert of most of us. This is your forte. A lot of talk about quarterbacks in the first round, over under 2.5 quarterbacks taken.
It's going to be over. We're over 2.5 because right now Malik Willis is the lock to be the to be the one guy that we know for sure is going to go in the first round. Kenny Pickett is likely going to go in the first round as well, and I'm just waiting to see who that third guy is going to be. I firmly believe that we're going to have people trade back in to the back end of the first round to draft Desmond Ridder. And then once Ridder goes, other teams could come in and draft Sam Howell, possibility for Carson Strong as well. Teams are going to be wanting to get these guys with that 5th-year option on their contracts. So we're definitely going to be over 2.5.
Nice. Love to hear it. All right. Well, without further ado, let's get crack-a-lackin'.
Thanks for letting me and Nick give our 2 cents about the draft, Josh. Really appreciate that.
We hear each other's 2 cents all the time. But you know what? Why not? We all love a storyline, so let's get to it. Toss, off the dome, gut check reaction, your guess, knowing these prospects, who's going to have the best draft day outfit tomorrow?
Ooh. I mean, you got to go with the name. Right, it's gonna be Sauce.
Yeah,
Sauce is gonna have the
Gardner for sure.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
If it's not, I'm gonna be disappointed.
I'll be so disappointed if Sauce Gardner doesn't bring it. I'll be really upset.
I think it's gonna be the big man, Jordan Davis.
Nice, yeah, he's got some swag. Nick, last before we get into the mock itself, which team, if any, will trade out of the top 10? A team picking in the top 10, which team will trade
out of the top 10?
If at all?
I don't think anyone is going to do it, but if I were a team to do it, I'd probably have to go with I would say the Giants at the 7 pick, because they have 2 picks, or maybe the Giants at the 5th pick. I think that a team that wants to get a quarterback might trade up to jump over Seattle, Atlanta, and Carolina. So maybe one of those 5 or 7 picks.
Nice. All right. Well, now that we've all felt included in draft questions before the mock draft, sorry, boys, we can get going on the mock draft. I believe I'm first up with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have the first pick for back-to-back years. Last year, obviously, they won with Trevor Lawrence, the boy wonder. This is a tough one.
Don't blow it.
My gut, I'm try not to blow it like they will probably blow it. If I were picking, I'd go offensive lineman. I know they just signed Cam Robinson to a 3-year, $54 million extension. I still think that you need depth in the offensive line, especially in today's day with how good the defensive linemen are in the NFL. You also, need to protect the guy who is the franchise player and is a franchise changer. And none of these guys, I feel as if are a franchise changer at the top end. We could have a lot of great starters out of the first round. I'm not saying it's going to be like the 13 class in the first round, but Trevor Lawrence is the franchise changer, and you have to do everything you can to protect him and enhance him. They did make some great moves in the offseason, but there's never enough depth in the offensive line. All that being said, I'm not drinking the Trevor Walker Kool-Aid because Joe backed me off of that hill. I'm going to go with Aiden Hutchinson, and I think he's been the first overall pick all month, and I think it's going to be a lock. I think they stay with Aiden Hutchinson, and I think he's a Jacksonville Jaguar.
If you think that's a lock, then you should go to betonline.ag and place a bet right now.
Oh, Nick, there we go. It's called marketing,
and
dude.
get some good odds on Aiden Hutchinson, because Trayvon Walker is a heavy favorite to go number 1 overall.
That's such easy money. I just have to say, you got to go put money on that Aiden Hutchinson pick. That I still firmly believe that Trayvon Walker buzz is a total smokescreen. Just put $5 down. It's easy money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Walk home with like $12. Nice, Joe.
Yeah. Buy yourself a beer.
Now, in Los Angeles, it's an easy beer. Yeah.
Or a guy. Right.
Number 2, who we got? Number two,
My
we got
Nikki. All right, for Detroit, I was hoping that Aiden would be there on the board to keep the Michigan boy home in Detroit, but I think they're going to go with Kayvon Thibodeau here. It's a similar position, similar draft need. They take Penei Sewell last year from Oregon. A lot of people slept on him. I don't think anyone's sleeping on Kayvon Thibodeau this year. I mean, there was a lot of questions of his work ethic and, whether he can stay on the field or not, but this is a guy who's a generational talent. He's built like a brick house. I think that he's going to make the world of a difference on that defensive line.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Yeah. Great pick right there. Tracy, up next in Houston. Give it to me.
This may surprise some people, but I am going to go with Derek Stingley Jr., and that is because it is not a very deep corner draft. Houston has a variety of needs, like pretty much all of them, but this is a deep draft for defensive ends. This is a deep draft at wide receiver. I think they need to shore up their secondary along with the rest of their team. So I am going to go with that surprise pick because they want the best guy at that position on the board.
Love it. I honestly I don't hate that at all. I think Stingley Jr. is one of those guys who before the season was supposed to be that quote unquote generational talent. As a freshman corner at LSU, he was one of the best freshman corners or corners in general in college a lot of us had ever seen. So I think it's a sleeping giant. Love that pick right there. Toss Gangrene at the 4 slot. Talk to us.
Yeah, I'm picking for the Jets here. Obviously, I was interested in Stingley. They have so many needs on this team. Solid defensive-minded head coach. Walker is enticing. If the other 2 edge guys had been there, I think I would have gone with them. But Walker's going to continue to fall, and I have Stingley on my board ahead of Gardner. So if Stingley was there, that might have changed things for me. But let's try and protect this young man, Zach Wilson, who was fending for his life last year. Let's pick Evan Neal out of Alabama. You got to bolster the offensive line if you have an asset like Zach Wilson on your team.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And now closing us out in the first 5 goes Joe. Interesting board so far. Love to hear what you're thinking for the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, so as a Giants fan and as the man making the pick for the Giants, I am very pissed off that the Jets just took Evan Neal because he slid just close enough for them to maybe get him, but still Ikem Ekwonu is on the board. I like Evan Neal a lot better than Ekwonu, but you can't really be picky. especially in this instance, you're going to be motivated to draft Ekwonu. Once one tackle goes, do you really want to wait until 7? There's a possibility that Ekwonu could go, and then you could be making that decision on if you really want Charles Cross or not. There's always a possibility that somebody tries to leapfrog you into that 6th spot. So getting Ikem Ekwonu from NC State to play opposite of Andrew Thomas is the right move here for a team that just has a terrible offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot common theme in the next couple of picks of terrible offensive line. We got the Carolina Panthers up next. Look, do they need a quarterback? Most certainly. They could trade for Baker. Probably not, obviously, give up the first-round pick, but maybe go to day 2 and use one of those picks to get Baker, a future 2023 pick to get Baker. They have Darnold on the roster. You know, I don't want to. I feel like I have to die on this Darnold hill because I've been dying a slow death.
A lot of teams have backup
years.
quarterbacks on their roster.
I know. I mean, they need. I just
Josh, you already canoed off of Darnold Island. Are you going back? Are you turning around?
I had a bad canoe. The canoe has leaks, and I may be forced to swim back ashore. The thing is this: I don't think that any of these quarterbacks are ready to go right away. I don't think that any of them are a generational talent. None of them would have been picked as a top 5 quarterback if they were in last year's draft. And the Panthers aren't a team that are ready to compete right now where any of these guys are going to really make a difference. I also think Matt Rule is kind of coaching for his life, and I don't think one of those guys is going to help his job and anything. It'll hurt his job. I think they also have a terrible offensive line, and I think they play it safe and they continue to build there, and they go with Charles Cross at Mississippi State.
Solid pick.
Thank you.
Joe, I will take over for the Giants pick at 7. If they don't decide to trade this pick, I believe that they're going to take best available here. And to me, that's Sauce Gardner. I think that they were probably hoping to get Derek Stingley here if he was available because Sauce would be gone. But I do think that they need to beef up the secondary there in that division. You know, they play against a lot of high-powered offenses. So Sauce Gardner's my guy with the best outfit of the draft.
I thought that was going to be Trayvon Walker there. You totally redirected on me there. You set it up for best available. And
best
then you
available.
Went with Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, okay. Those 1A, 1B, in my opinion, depends on what you want to put at a premium for the position.
Nice. All right. Next up, Tracy, talk to us. The Atlanta Falcons.
Well, since he's still on the board, I didn't think he would be. It's got to be Garrett Wilson. They haven't had an elite wide receiver on that team in a very long time. So I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson for the Atlanta Falcons. I will have you know that originally I thought it was going to be Drake London, but since Garrett's available, he's going to Atlanta.
Atlanta, Garrett Wilson at OHIO. Calvin Ridley, obviously not with the team anymore. He left halfway through the season. And then on top of that, he was gambling for like pennies on the dollar and is suspended. So Garrett Wilson will take over as the number 1 wide receiver, complimenting Kyle Pitts and helping out that offense, who's going to need a lot of help without Matt Ryan this year. Up next,
fellow Austin boy, too.
Is it Marcus Mariota that will be throwing to him?
Marcus Mariota will be the gentleman under center.
Yeah.
Look,
Well,
I'm
listen,
down
Garrett
for
may
a
not have
macro.
the year of his life, but that's okay.
I'm out on the Falcons taking a quarterback this draft. I think they're going to
They're
give
not
Mariota a
gonna
fair
do it.
chance. I think they
They're
give him a
not.
fair shot.
Yeah.
And if it blows up in their face, then they're going to be picking in the top 10 next year, and then they'll get their quarterback.
This is not
This is not the class to pick a quarterback if you're a team that might have a quarterback already on your roster.
100%. I think Mariota showed enough as a backup as a Raider that he could be fine as a quarterback in Atlanta. A team that's not going to compete. They're not going to be excellent this year. They're not going to be.
They're gonna
better
be
than the Saints
terrible.
or the Bucks.
We went from they're not going to be excellent to they're going to be terrible.
They're going to be bad.
Yeah,
There's so many holes on that roster. Mariota's
I don't
not
know.
that good.
I'm really excited about the the 2nd seed in the NFC South. That battle is going to be really exciting. Except not
Who
exciting.
finishes with 7 wins? Yeah, that's going to be
Right, it's
really,
gonna be
really exciting.
disgusting. Yeah.
Don't sleep on
Saints and
Jameis Winston,
Panthers.
baby.
He's
He
got new
repaired his
eyes.
and he's got new knees, or one new knee at least. Toss, talk to me about the Seattle Seahawks.
So when you asked Nick the question earlier about who in the top 10 is going to trade back, I actually think that the Seahawks have a really good chance of moving this pick back, especially if, we went heavy offensive line, but if any of those guys, they think are going to fall, I think they'll definitely trade back. Quarterback here is kind of enticing because they just went and said that definitely don't want Baker Mayfield. I'm not going to do it, Joe. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to
talk everyone out of quarterbacks, by the way. I'm just saying that.
I'm going to take
I'm
Trayvon
not
Walker
taking one.
because you're talking about best available. He's
There we go.
there. He's the number 1 ranked player on TDN's rankings. They need edge. They need help on the defensive line. They need a lot, but I love starting on the line, especially on the defensive side. Let's see if he can make some plays up in the Pacific Northwest.
Josh, I'm upset. Call them by their real name.
Sorry, the Water
Well,
Falcons.
The Water Falcons. Thank you. Yeah, they are we have a lot of names for a lot of different teams, but the Water Falcons is the one that we've stuck with. What were the other ones that I felt that we came up with? The Water Falcons, the one that only really
The
stuck.
commies.
The commies, they were the liberal chiefs for a little bit, but
Little
now,
Chiefs.
yeah, before they were the football team, they were the liberal. Now when they were the football team, they're liberal chiefs. Anyway, enough of fake names.
Back on track.
Back to the New
Back
York
on
football,
track.
the other New York football team. Joe, talk to us. What are the Jets doing at the 10 slot?
Yeah, I was starting to get really sweaty there with Trayvon Walker falling that far, but the Jets just miss out on getting Walker. That would be a home run for the Jets. The one team that's been really, the two teams that I keep hearing are really interested in Drake London out of USC are the Jets and the Falcons. So in this circumstance, the Falcons end up going with Garrett Wilson. So the Jets are just as excited that Drake London is there. They're a team that has made it very clear this whole offseason they're looking for any help at receiver. They were one of the teams that were in the market for Tyreek Hill. They're now suddenly in the market for Deebo Samuel. And as Tracy, as you said, probably not that likely that it ends up being end up going through come draft night. So Drake London gives them a tall, long possession receiver. Zach Wilson should be very excited after getting some protection and also a receiving threat. Also, Blake Ruffino says what's up.
What up, Blake? Love you, man. All love to you.
Blake.
Go check out his live stream tomorrow during the draft. Yeah, I'm
Derek
down.
Stingley already went. Blake, go Tigers.
Yeah, Derek Stingley was
Go
number one on my board for the now Commanders. I was thinking both corners there if both fell. Didn't think they would. Gonna join this wide receiver run and go with the guy. If I love Garrett Wilson and I'm a Buckeye through and through. After I'm a Longhorn, of course, but if Jameson Williams was healthy and not coming off a major knee injury, he'd be the first receiver taken, and McLaurin needs a running mate. They are dying on this Wentz hill, a hill that I was never on, but they're going to try to have to give him everything he's got in a division that is very easy to come in second place, and they've done it before. So Jameson Wilson to the Washington Commanders with the 11th pick.
With the Vikings, I believe they're going to select Trent McDuffie. I think right now he's probably one of the more elite cornerbacks in this draft class. And we mentioned Sauce Gardner, we mentioned Stingley, but they can definitely use some help in the secondary. They have drafted 2 cornerbacks within the last 4 years in the first round. Third time is the charm. Jeff Gladney didn't really work out. Mike Hughes didn't really work out. So hopefully they strike gold here with Trent McDuffie, get some help with veteran corner Patrick Peterson back there as well, and try to defend that Green Bay pass game.
Nice. Love it. Tracy, Texans are all you.
So as you may have remembered at the third pick, I said how this was a much deeper draft, on the defensive line than at cornerback. So now here we are at 13, and the Houston Texans build in the trenches with Jordan Davis because, well, I think it's obvious why. But he's big, he's got extreme physical tools, and Nick Caserio just keeps building those trenches. Again, so many areas of need on this team. Not that easy to say. So we're going Jordan Davis at 13 to the Houston Texans.
The big boy.
Look, Caserio is a former Patriots guy. I'm a Patriots fan. You don't have to tell me twice in the interior, the defensive line. I grew up with Vince Wilfork. Not saying he's the next coming, but he can be a real deal on a real home wrecker like that in the interior. Toss, what are they doing in Baltimore?
I mean, I feel like I'm at like an all-you-can-eat buffet right now. Like things are just.
How is
being
Kyle
put in
Hamilton
front of
on the
me.
board?
Kyle Hamilton's just sitting there. Jermaine Johnson's just sitting there. Like I'm gonna take Kyle Hamilton. I was intrigued about Jermaine Johnson just because I think you could throw him opposite of OA, and that would be really, really fun. I feel like the Ravens will kind of be in the position like they were in when they drafted Patrick Queen, where it's not necessity. They're just drafting another guy that can come in, be kind of a rotation piece as a rookie on their defense and make an impact. And, I think Josh and myself really like the Ravens next year, a fully healthy team in a really tough division, but the personnel is there. So that's why I take Kyle Hamilton. I know Joe loves him. He's a Notre Dame guy, but he's huge. He's 6'4", 230. Like he's an absolute athlete. I think he makes an immediate impact on the Ravens defense.
And I have to say, AFC North teams should be frightened if this happens, because like that's the last place I want to see Kyle Hamilton playing. Is one of the best defensive teams led by Harbaugh. That they have consistently put together really good defensive teams. So that is frightening to add him to that group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Fun fact for those who don't know: since the Carolina Panthers went to the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos, a team that went under 500 the year before has made the Super Bowl the following year. In each of those consecutive years, hasn't won necessarily, but if you think about it, the Bengals under 500 the year before they went to the Super Bowl, and obviously going to the Super Bowl last year. So that's been a consistent trend. The Ravens were first in the AFC. Lamar Jackson goes down. They lose like 6 games in a row. They go 8-9, technically under 500. They could be the team that does that this year. Joseph, back at the 15, the Eagles. Talk to us. What they doing?
Yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles have seriously lucked out here at pick 15. Jermaine Johnson's on the board. This is a team that is really, really desperate to add some edge rushers. So I'm taking Jermaine Johnson. I'm not overthinking that one. I see the Eagles going a number of different ways with these 2 picks. If it's drafting an edge rusher, a corner, whatever it is, they need defensive players. Their defense has gotten old. They've lost a lot of guys. I think Jermaine Johnson would be a perfect pick for this team.
Love it. For the Saints at 16, Olave is very tempting, but I'm going to go Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa, the offensive tackle. They need to replace Teron Armstead. The rest of the offensive line, especially the interior, actually the rest of the offensive line in general, has been built great through the draft. And I think the Saints continue that trend and play it safe in Dennis Allen's first year as the head coach down in NOLA.
Wait, who did you pick, sir? I got distracted, Nick.
Trevor Penning. I'm going with Trevor Penning. The draft board guy is asleep at the wheel. He's right there.
Well,
I'm distracting you.
I'm trying to respond and let you know that Charles Cross is not available.
Well, it's kind of hard to see here, you know.
Yeah. Take it up with the Draft Network.
Yeah. Damn you, Draft Network.
All right, Nick.
I was trying to be discreet and text you on the side, not call you out.
Well, you got us both in trouble.
I'm not in trouble.
No one's in trouble. Nobody's in trouble. We're all adults. You can't get in trouble anymore.
Everyone that I wanted my Chargers to draft thus far has been taken, which is surprising to me. And I don't think that's actually going to happen in this draft. I would have said Charles Cross being my number 1 pick here, then followed by Penning, who just got swooped, and then addressing a need at wide receiver in Jameson Williams. So I think the pick here has got to be Chris Olave. He grew up a Chargers fan. The Chargers fans have been dying for him to come to Los Angeles and play inside that receiver position with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and also to add Josh Palmer. For me, offensive line was the biggest need, just because you want to protect Justin Herbert at all costs. You went and got Rashawn Slater last year. Steal of a pick that was. He was a Pro Bowler, you know. I mean, we just want that line to continue to beef up. But as it stands right now, I'm going to go with Chris Olave.
Nice. Speedster. All right, Tracy, talk to us. What do we got going down in Philadelphia for their second pick?
Well, I'm going to pick my guy from the University of Michigan, Go Blue, Daxton Hill at safety, because he has tremendous instincts, tremendous coverage skills. He could potentially play cornerback. He could play nickel safety. He could play free safety. And that Philadelphia Eagles secondary has been quite leaky, which I think is a nice way to put that. So I'm going with my guy, Go Blue. Also, I couldn't possibly pass up the opportunity to draft a guy from the University of Michigan, greatest school in the world. Go Blue.
Except for a few other schools. And Daxton Hill.
Incorrect. Greatest school in the world.
The ever versatile Daxton Hill. You listed like 5 positions he could play. He could also play the jazz flute, apparently. Speaking of jazz flute, going back down to New Orleans. Thanks.
Wow, that was
talk to me.
Paul Blart level segue
Orleans,
right there. That was
I love that
one. Thank you.
That was
man.
a good segue.
Well, and Philly has that pick from New Orleans, so that's just like a lot of full circle stuff going on there.
You got a lot of bad segues in your life. You got a couple good ones, and I appreciate the Paul Blart shout out. Let's see what we got going on in pick 19 in NOLA.
You mentioned that Dennis Allen is the new head coach there.
Yeah.
God, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take him because he's there in the Saints. A lot of times you get a new head coach, you get a new regime, you want to reset the clock gets reset. There's an
do
opportunity to
it.
go take a quarterback. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Malik Willis from
God
Liberty.
damn it.
What's wrong with that, Joe? What's wrong with that?
Because I
Look,
have the
Jameis
next
Winston-
pick. I have the Steelers pick. I'm pissed. You just took the guy that I wanted. That's why I'm upset.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
better than you at your job, dude. Just kidding. No, I'm taking a flyer on Malik Willis. If he truly is the best talent out of this quarterback class, see what you can get with him. You've got Jameis, who's a serviceable starting quarterback, but probably not your quarterback for the future. I'll never believe in Taysom Hill as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So I think it's a solid pick. And like we mentioned, the NFC South is pretty weak right now. So if there was ever a time to kind of strike and rebuild for the Saints team, you have time.
I agree with half of that. I agree that Taysom Hill is not a starter. We've never believed in that.
Yeah.
He needs to go and change positions. But Jameis was playing really well this year until he tore his ACL, and they were winning, and they were looking like they were going to go to the playoffs. I believe that this is a chance to get him back out there at full health and see what they can really do with him. And if it doesn't work out, same thing with the Falcons. You're picking in the top 10 next year and getting a better quarterback than you would in this draft.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong, Mariota and Jameis were 1 and 2 in that same year, correct?
They were.
That
So you
is
have the
correct.
Falcons and the Saints.
The Heisman boys.
There we go. Interessante. Thanks, guys. Just wanted to
That
throw
is
out
very-
some
Thank you.
You're
Some
welcome.
draft- Hey, don't think us. Think you. You did all the work on that one. We had no effort.
We've seen Jameis Winston. Like last year, he was good, but he was also game managing. He wasn't being
Sure.
tested and having to throw, more than 25 times in a game. He was really, and part of that is they didn't have their secondary primary weapon in Michael Thomas, and it was basically just Kamara out there. But I think that there was a reason why Sean Payton wasn't willing to challenge him as a passer, because he has proven, even with, his new surgery, that he doesn't always make the right decision. So I think that's why Malik Willis it's a good flyer pick for them, or at least I'll talk
Right.
myself into it.
It's
I
it's a
agree with.
sh-
I was
it's
just gonna say I
sh-
agree with Nick on this. That I think that if the Saints are going to reset, it needs to be with somebody who's not 3 years away. I love
Right.
Malik Willis; he's a fantastic prospect, but he needs to go to a situation like I think the Steelers is a little bit better because they can ride Trubisky and see how long they can get out of him, or some of these other later teams. But I don't like the thought of that. If they want to move on from Jameis, they need to get 2 to 3 more years out of Jameis, and he's on a 1-year deal.
yeah.
I don't like the thought of getting more out of. I understand that obviously contracts get in the way, and Trubisky's on a longer deal than Jameis is, but I have more faith in Jameis being successful than Mitchell Trubisky. Sorry,
I agree
think
with that.
that-
assessment.
that I can say. All right.
All they need to
Malik
do is
Willis,
they just need
yeah.
to go sign Brashad Perryman, and the Saints are fine. That's it. Once you get Brashad
All,
Perryman,
all I'm
partner
saying,
it up with Winston.
all I'm saying is
Dynamite.
I don't think the Saints come out of this first round of the draft without taking a wide receiver. They've got 2 picks here.
agree.
It's gonna happen.
My hand was forced because you went and snatched Olave, and the rest of those guys were gone. I mean, I don't necessarily
almost went with Olave.
believe in Burks.
Yeah.
So that's
There's
that's
always
part of the reason why that
option. There's always the option to trade back to. I mean, this draft is not barring any trades here.
I also do think there's a situation where this is a lot deeper of a wide receiver class than we anticipate. We know a lot of the names in the top half, but there's a lot of names, in the second or third round that we could see make some noise. And so I think that the Saints waiting isn't the end of the world. Do I agree that they take Malik Willis? Maybe, maybe not, but I don't necessarily think they go wide receiver in the first round automatic. This is Believe in New Orleans Saints or Believe in the mock draft right here on going live on, on the channel. Joe, talk to us. Get us back with it. Steelers.
And he's gone.
And Joe left, so we could vamp a little bit about Pittsburgh. Have you guys
He's
ever
so
been to
upset about this. He's just like, I'm out of here.
I'm done blowing this popsicle stand. Have you guys ever been to Pittsburgh?
No, but it is actually supposed to be a great city.
Very underrated. Food solid. Beer halls are good. I haven't spent too much time there, but
What time of year were you
Pittsburgh-
there? I feel like that's
Two-
crucial.
winter and summer. I've been there twice.
Oh.
I haven't seen a sporting event there though. I feel like that's a major missed opportunity in Pittsburgh. I will pick for Joe. because I feel like we're not getting him back for a hot second.
Joe's our guy who's actually manning the picks here too. So, and there goes the board.
And there goes. And it was going great. It was having it. He just texts us. He's lagging out and he's crying. Oh no.
Oh, that's so
Aw.
sad.
Well,
so sad.
we are brought to you by Kleenex. Go to Kleenex.com today. Use the
Oh,
promo
he's
code.
back.
Use the promo.
Yay.
Wow, that was fantastically professional. Love it when things work.
Joe, we need to get your boss to pay for a better Wi-Fi for you.
Oh, I completely agree, Braun.
Shout out to Braun. Shout out to his family. Shout out
Nice.
to
That was a
Atlanta
nice little intermission there, Joe.
Yeah.
Make your pick
Yes.
at 20.
Holy crap! Sorry, I was really sweating there trying to figure that out. But you made a really good point though a second ago, Alex, when I was upset that you took Malik Willis. That I did not do my job properly. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers, if there were trades allowed, the Steelers would have traded up by now to go get Malik Willis. But they miss out. They don't make the move. Maybe they're sitting around thinking too much and they get beat out by the Saints. I really do think that the Steelers are a team that's going to pull the trigger on a quarterback regardless. So in this situation, I'm going to go with Desmond Ritter out of Cincinnati.
You just faked us out. Hovered over
think
Kenny
that-
Pickett.
Mhm.
I think I was debating it, and it makes sense in terms of like, oh, he played in the same stadium, he's from the same region where he went to college. But Desmond Ritter fits a little bit more what I think that they're going to be looking for in their next quarterback. You look at the guys that they've drafted after Ben Roethlisberger. It's been a lot of Josh Dobbs, Mason Rudolph, those types of guys, and I think Desmond Ritter fits that.
Absolutely. This is the guy I want. Not as sexy as the picks, but I think he's a bruiser. He's a mauler. I love Patriots doing work on the first and second round on the offensive line. I want to get a guard right here. I'm going to go Zion Johnson. If he was gone, I would have gone Kenyon Green.
Staying in Boston.
Staying in Boston, baby. Going hometown kid, Zion Johnson, New England Patriots.
That's a great pick.
Thank you, Joe.
Much like the Saints, Packers have 2 picks in this first round, and I believe they're taking a wide receiver. And I think they're going to take one now because there was a run in the early round. I think Traylon Brooks goes here. They need to fill that void for where Devonta Adams is missing, and they need to keep Aaron Rodgers happy at all costs.
Well,
I love Traylon.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, that guy couldn't be happy on the beach. Nice weather. I honestly like Traylon Burks as a prospect more than I like my own brother. I think, yeah.
Not nice.
Sorry. Well, welcome to the
Doesn't have
show.
one.
I don't have a brother.
Yeah, there is no brother.
That's the joke. But no, I think Traylon Burks could be the best receiver in this draft class. I really do. I know I said that about Jameson Williams, but I think Traylon Burks is a talent. He's so skilled, and they really don't do that much passing in Arkansas, so he's kind of overshadowed there. I love that pick for Green Bay. Tracy, Arizona. There's always drama in the Cardinals when Kyler Murray's around.
There's always just drama, apparently. Yeah. But this is not a very dramatic pick, but I think it's a good pick, and it is George Kalaftis. Am I saying that right? Because I'm not 100%.
Correct him, Alex.
You got to ask
Alex.
Josh, or you got to ask Alex. He's the Greek.
George Karlaftis. Or if you wanted his Greek name, it would be Yorgos Karlaftis. That would be
Okay.
his name.
That was great.
He is a hell of an edge rusher. However you ever say thing. And potentially could even put on a little weight, be a little JJ Watt-esque for the Arizona Cardinals. I did see they picked up Kyler Murray's 5th-year option, so that's interesting. But that's who I have them picking at 23.
Love
Made
it.
that boy some spanakopita, some tiropita.
I love spanakopita.
Tomas.
I love Spanakopita. If you
Alex,
could
when we do
get
our
me
live
that.
coverage, can you please be the one who reacts to the George Karlaftis pick?
No matter who takes
I
him.
need you to be the
Sure.
one who we're gonna bump, even if it's like Pac-Man and the Bengals take him, we're bumping Pac-Man for you.
Okay.
Not a,
Great.
that's
Pat will love that.
he'll love that. Also a poor production call, but hey, let's ride it out. Sticking with Toss on this one, Cowboys. What are you guys doing over here, man?
I think, look, I want to protect Dak Prescott as much as anyone. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trust my intuition here. Hullabaloo, connect. I shouldn't be saying that because I'm a Texas Longhorn, but we're going to go with the interior offensive lineman, Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M, bolster that offensive line. You still, you want to throw the ball a lot. You want the offense to work well. You know Amari Cooper, but there is CeeDee Lamb. I expect him to take a step up, but that only comes if we have protection for Dak Prescott. So I think Kenyon Green's the pick.
Nice. Love it. All right, Joe. What are they doing up in Buffalo?
See, the Bills are not in a great spot here because all the receivers are gone. It's way too early to draft a running back. I'm disappointed that I missed out on Kenyon Green and Zion Johnson because they need a little bit of help in their interior. But they do have need at corner, and they need to add somebody to play opposite of Tre'Davious White. I see that Andrew Booth Jr. has survived this long, and I'm a big fan of Andrew Booth Jr.'s. The Clemson cornerback, tall, long guy, very, very athletic. Frankly, I think he's one of the least talked about corners in this class and could very well end up being the best one amongst the group.
Wow.
I don't agree. I don't agree that all the wide receivers are gone. I think there's a few in this draft that are still there. That
I mean, it's not that they're gone. It's just I don't know if it makes sense for the Bills here for them to go with like Dotson or Christian Watson.
Mm-hmm.
Sky Moore.
Fair. Sky Moore's boy fast. All right, Tennessee, Vrabel, linebacker, going linebacker. This is tough. It's which linebacker do you take? Pick your poison. Nakobe Dean is the sexier pick. Obviously Georgia winning the national championship, he captained that defense. You see all the highlights of him running across the field like an absolute madman, making tackles from the opposite side. All that being said, Devin Lloyd's size, Devin Lloyd's speed, Devin Lloyd in his own right taking things to the house. I'm going Devin Lloyd for the Tennessee Titans right here. Continue building that middle of the defense. They have Jeffrey Simmons in there in the interior. I love the Devin Lloyd pick for the Titans.
Linebackers named Devin usually don't miss.
Facts. Can't really argue.
Good.
Can't argue that. That should be their
linebackers named Devin.
Devin White.
Devin White plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Speaking of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Devin Bush was
they're
on
the clock.
Yeah,
Devin Bush. That was a year ago.
He was good.
He wasn't until he was. He wasn't until he was.
Yeah. He got hurt.
He got banged up.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Devin White on the Tampa Bay Bucks, who are picking now. I believe that they're going to go with the cornerback. Kiram Elam, I think, will be the pick here, staying in Florida. You took Booth away from me, but I still think this would have been the pick either way. He's a physical defender, and I think that they really need him on the secondary to defend the rest of their division.
Nice. All right, Tracy, Green Bay. Can we make Aaron Rodgers happy?
If anyone can do it, it's Tracy.
Shailene Woodley couldn't do it. If she can't he needs help, man. If she can't do it, nobody can.
I think that might be true, but I don't think he's going to love my pick because a few picks ago, Green Bay Packers drafted a wide receiver who I actually originally had them drafting in this position, but they lose Zadarius Smith in the offseason. They go with an edge rusher, Boya Mafe, out of the University of Minnesota. The Golden Gopher comes in with some dynamic presence. He's used to the cold, and he does well on the Green Bay Packers defense, but they'll still lose to the 49ers in the playoffs.
If they make it to the playoffs,
who doesn't love an unbiased opinion? The Kansas City Chiefs up next. Toss, what do we think with the Chiefs' first pick? They got back to back. We'll see how you and Joe.
It's me and Joe. Joe, let's put our heads together here. As
one of these has to be a receiver.
I feel like you guys should butt heads here on this one.
I feel like the move is wide receiver corner or corner wide receiver, and so I'll go ahead and I'm going to take the corner. I'm going to take Kyler Gordon, and you can do with whatever you want to do for that pick 30. Just have a field day, Joe. But they do need defensive backfield help, especially playing in that division with Russell Wilson now. Of course, Justin Herbert. Can't forget Derek Carr, who has Devontae Adams. So they need help with the defensive backfield. So that's why I'm going that
Joe,
route.
Don't let Toss tell you what to do. Make your own pick, man.
I am making my own.
You can make
pick,
your own position pick too.
I'm not going to draft two wide receivers, but I totally agree with Toss. This is probably going to be a defensive back / corner and a receiver with either of these picks. And I'm thinking here, what receiver makes the most sense for what they did during the offseason and what they like? They got two bigger-ish receivers with Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I like to see that Jahan Dotson's on the board from Penn State. We know that they love these small, shifty, deep threat receivers. He's obviously not going to replace Tyreek Hill's presence, but he is very, very fast, very, very explosive. And I'm sure Andy Reid is excited that he's on the board.
Mm-hmm. I've been put in a blender in this one. Two of the guys I want are gone. Say the Greek guy's name the way you say it. I'm not going to say it without saying it the right way.
Yorgos Karlaftis.
I wanted him in Cincinnati. He's gone. Our
I want a
Bengals
Euro
boys.
rap right now. That's what
I want to. You're up in my face. Our Bengals boys took Linderbaum
No,
to the draft.
thank you.
Suit yourself. In our other draft show, or one of our compadres sold me on this guy. I feel like Joe is gonna not like this pick with all his,
I definitely won't.
research. But I'm gonna make a massive reach because there's always these crazy
God.
reaches. There's crazy reaches across the board, and things happen. I'm staying in Texas, baby, but not out of the University of Texas. I'm going over in Houston. I'm going interior defensive lineman Logan Hall, the back end of the first round for the Cincinnati Bengals.
If
Okay.
you
So
tune into
you're going
the
off
Cherry
of-
Stripe, if you tune in the Cherry Stripe often, you would have heard that our guest believes that Logan Hall is a future All-Pro.
And I did a little more
Crazy-
work into him. I'm
Crazy
in.
high praise.
I'm in on Logan Hall. I think it's a wild pick, but we see wild picks happen all the time, unpredicted picks, and I think this is the one that happens at the back end of the first round. I'm
Did
going
you say you're
Logan
in
Hall.
on? You're a big Logan Paul guy. You like Logan Paul?
I've grown on Logan Paul himself, but Logan Hall, the future
I think-
Cincinnati Bengals.
Isn't Logan like the good Paul between the two Pauls? Or is it just
Well,
like
I'm
the one of
surprised
left
Jake's
Eagles?
not on this draft board. Isn't he trying to join the NFL or something like that?
Is that
Something
what the
crazy?
word on the street was?
Yeah, that's what Billy on the street said.
Wait, but so
Billy.
Josh, I lagged out right before I got to ask this. Did you go off of the fact that Pac-Man is really high on Logan Hall? Is that why you made that decision?
No.
the
no,
Joe clearly
nothing.
doesn't listen to the Cherry Stripe?
We had a most
I
recent
don't.
draft episode. Thank you. We have shout out to our families who do. On our most recent episode, we had one of our friends, Adam Lazar White, come on, and he really sold me on Logan Hall. Did a little more work into him, and I think obviously he's a guy who could potentially get in round 2, of course. But I think that he really helps beef up that defensive line, which is really strong already. But you want to keep getting those pieces. And obviously, you go Wyatt. Winfrey is a guy I like seeing him up close and personal at Oklahoma. Ojabo coming off an injury, at his pro day, but he's obviously an elite talent that'd probably go in the top 20 had he not gotten hurt. There's a number of different ways you can go if you're the Bengals. I think Logan Hall is a guy I really like, and I wanted to have a sneaky pick at the end of round 1. So those are my reasonings.
It is so crazy looking at this draft board and just seeing Georgia. I mean, obviously they won the national championship, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, they're going to go they're going to dominate the first and second round. It seems to be the case. All right, last pick in the first round. Nick, take us home.
Closing it out. Look at these team needs. It's every single position. The Lions here, I mean, this 32 pick right here, I think they're just going to take a flyer on a quarterback. I just think that, Goff is not the guy. Josh, I'm not sure if you're still on Goff Island or if you've canoed out of there yet as well, but
No, I'm still on that island. I'm out.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Why
do
would
bel-
you even have ever gone to that island? I'm
with
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
with a coconut drink. With a coconut drink.
The
Josh
bottle.
likes his hair.
Josh and I are on that island together. A couple of
Really?
bottle of rum. Yeah.
I saw him at a
Excellent.
nightclub one time. He was pretty nice, but never got on the island of him actually playing good football. I'm going to take Kenny Pickett here. I think that's the best available quarterback in the draft. I mean, yes, you can say that it's Sam Howell or it's Matt Corral. I think it's just dealer's choice at that point. What if the GM likes more? But Kenny Pickett's tested the best out of all of them and had the better career. So I think they're just going to take a shot on him. And just like the Falcons, just like the Saints, and just like the Lions, if they suck, they're going to pick in the top 10 next year and they're going to get a better quarterback in the draft.
Mm-hmm. All right, real quick. Good work. What is one? We'll keep it positive. Not going to poo-poo anyone else's picks. What is one pick that somebody else made that you enjoyed? We'll go Toss, Joe, Nick, Tracy, then myself. Toss, what's one pick that somebody made that you like? Oh, I like that pick.
Joe, can you scroll up to the top so we get the
Yes,
whole
yes.
thing, or make this even smaller? Maybe I don't know.
I don't know how to make it smaller, but I can.
Joe,
slowly
can you
scroll through
buy
it.
that shirt actually for $24.99?
A lot of branding on this website.
Our good friends at the Draft Network.
Toss, talk to us. Pick you liked.
Yeah, I think that I really like. I like the Commanders pick, Jameson Williams. I agree with you, Josh. I think he's the best receiver. The injury is the only thing that was holding him back. I would have taken him ahead of Garrett Wilson. So I like
Rude.
that they're pairing him with Terry McLaurin, who's another favorite receiver of mine. Of course, it doesn't bode well for the Cowboys, but I like to see them taking steps forward in the right direction.
Nice. Joe, pick that you really liked that wasn't your own.
Yeah, I hate to give you any credit, but I do really
You're a
like the
beast.
Saints pick of Trevor Penning, that first one. I think he fits the mentality of what they're going to be looking for in a replacement tackle for Teron Armstead. And I think people should remember that Armstead was also a small school FCS guy coming from an HBCU program in Arkansas, Pine Bluff. They're not afraid to draft guys that are coming from small programs. Penning is very underrated, very fantastic athlete. They need offensive line help, and I think first year probably going to struggle a little bit, but give him some time to develop. He's going to be a fantastic tackle in this league.
Nice. Love it. Nick, what's one pick other than my picks and your own picks that you really enjoyed in this mock draft?
If you guys can tell, me and Josh are boys. I love Tracy's pick, number 8 with the Falcons. I think Garrett Wilson personally is the most talented receiver in this draft class, in my opinion. They're Austin boy, just like myself. But yeah, I think if he's there, they should take him for sure. Fill that void. We don't know what's going to happen with Calvin Ridley's future. They've been dying to get someone back there that can replace Julio Jones. So if Garrett Wilson's the guy, then he's the guy.
Mm-hmm. Nice. All right. Talk to me, Tracy. What's one pick you really liked that wasn't your own?
I liked the Kenyon Green pick for the Dallas Cowboys because I also think Dak Prescott should be protected at all costs. So I really like that pick.
Nice.
Yeah, can I just say before you go, Josh, somehow, and I know we were picking for our teams, but you, myself, and Nick, I think ended up with really good players for our own individual teams that we root for, that we're fans for. Because I think that the Pats pick, your pick was Zion Johnson, and Nick getting one of those receivers, Olave. I know he wasn't necessarily your first choice, but he's a really
that's what I was going to
talented
ask you guys. Even though we got talented players that I think that we're both happy with, are these the guys that you wanted, or would you have wanted someone else?
This is who I want. Yes.
I would take Zion Johnson over Kenyon Green, but then Kenyon Green's my next guy for the Cowboys.
Got it. So I think Olave for me is probably 4th, maybe even 5th. I think it goes Cross for me, then Penning, then Jordan Davis, then Jamison Williams, then Olave. I mean, if Garrett Wilson were to fall, of course, Garrett Wilson, but I don't think he's falling.
Nice. Yeah, fair. Well, top 5's nice. I'm rip torn, RIP to that legend, on my favorite. I love that Jermaine Johnson falling to the Eagles is great. I think that's a no-brainer. I'm glad you jumped on that, Joe. But Tracy, I'm with you. I think that Derek Stingley Jr. is a supreme talent, and there was a period of time, maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, where he was going to be the first overall pick in this draft. And I think that if LSU didn't, go down the absolute drain, sorry, Blake Ruffino, if you're still on here, after they won the national championship, and had they maintained maybe that close to that level of excellence, I think he'd still be in the conversation to possibly be the first cornerback taken first overall. I don't think there's been one. I don't think there's been a cornerback taken for. I think the highest cornerback ever selected is Jeff Okudah. As of now, Detroit can maybe do it again, but I think that's the highest one ever taken. So I think Stingley Jr. would have had a shot.
It's always risky, in my opinion, to take cornerbacks in the first round. I mean, I did it myself with the Giants. I did it, but I just think that proven in draft history that cornerbacks are just like quarterbacks in the first round. They're very easy busts. You've seen it time and time again. There's been guys that have been taken in the top 5, the top 10 that just don't work out, and they end up being terrible picks for their franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at CJ Henderson. They already had to bail on him for like a 3rd round pick after 1 year after taking him. Everything is really risky in the first round. You just don't want to be in situations. Why'd I just blank? Who was the tackle that took Isaiah Wilson? They took him 29th overall, the Titans, where he pretty much just was like, yeah, I'm going to go smoke a pack of Marlboros on a boat instead of play football. You don't want to be in. That's always the worst position to be in. But yeah, cornerback's extremely risky. A lot of fun, guys. Thanks for
gut check reaction. Last question for everybody. Who is picking number 1 overall next season? Which team?
Ooh,
Tracy,
good
we'll start
question.
with you.
Ooh, that is a really good question. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions.
Okay. Joe.
I'm going to pick what I feel is the most inept, directionless team right now. I think that the Lions are struggling. Their roster's bad. but I think that they'll make a little bit of progress. The Panthers right now, man, they're just have no direction. It is the perfect circumstance for a team to be picking first overall. Matt Rule is fighting for his job, and that whole team is I think is just has no sense of where they're going to be in the next few years. They're going to have to start from scratch yet again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he stole mine. He stole my pick, but I'm gonna make it interesting and say another team. I'm gonna go Da Bears. Don't have a first round pick.
Toss.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
wow.
And I love Fields. I just think they don't have a lot going on over there, to be honest. And I think they game without a
They
first
also don't have
pick.
a first round pick, which hurts.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, not the Eagles. That's not who I'm going to pick. But
Couldn't
I
help
think
yourself.
that, I mean, I think it's going to be one of the two worst teams in the AFC South. I think the Colts got better, and the Titans were the best team record-wise in the AFC going into the playoffs last year. So I think, that's two easy losses for the Jags and the Texans. Whichever of those two teams takes the biggest step forward. And in my mind, the consistency and also the kind of black spot that was, Deshaun Watson is now gone from their team, right? And they can move forward. And I think the Jags, talking about directionless, Joe, like they're still so directionless. And I think even if they bring in Hutchinson, that doesn't do enough for me for them to take the next step. And so I think we could easily see them right back at number one next year too.
If the Jaguars picking number one 3 years in a row, they should blockbuster this thing. I'm talking not like a blockbuster trade, like Blockbuster, the company, close up shop. That's it. I think they should just get rid of the
Send
team.
it somewhere else.
No, send him to London. Take him to
That
New
would be
York.
so much worse, though, because no one's going to want to play there.
There might be a draw. There might be a draw there.
No, guys have fun in London. I feel like the guys we spoke to, Gurley, Pack, there's a couple of guys we spoke to at the Super Bowl that loved going to
Well, it's
London.
fun for a game, but the thing is, like, those
Not
guys,
a full season.
yeah, like guys having to live there and be there for a full season. The time zone is just, I think it's gonna be too much to have like a West
They live
Coast
in
team
Jacksonville.
play.
They live in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville sucks, but at least it's on like a normal time
you
zone
said it.
range.
You did say it. I mean, I don't know.
Look, there's other cities
so
besides
many
London too
hurdles.
that they can
Yeah.
move to. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not just London. Obviously, they have the stadium ready to go,
Yeah.
but there are other cities, and I think that next 3 years, it might just be the best thing just to move somewhere else.
And look,
Geography aside, I
Yeah.
will close this out here with who I believe will be picking number one next year. It's hard not to say the Lions. It's hard not to say Jacksonville. I'm going to think a little bit outside the box, and this is a crazy pick. I think the Seahawks could be picking at number one
Ooh.
next year.
Wow.
They don't
I
have a
think that's
quarterback.
crazy.
They don't, especially if they don't take a quarterback in this draft, and they just kind of sit on their hands and just see what happens. Maybe they even trade DK Metcalf this offseason. They might be picking in the top 5, maybe top 3, maybe top 1.
Wow. That's really interesting. I actually don't hate that at all. I kind of love that. And I love all
Tracy
this.
loves it.
I love
She
it. I
doesn't-
think it's
She doesn't.
fantastic.
She doesn't like the Water Falcons.
I do
No.
not. I do not. I don't really
But
like
you
that
like-
team at all.
But you like the nickname of the Water Falcons, right?
I do like the nickname of the Water Falcons. I mean, unless there's some reason that somehow Jimmy Garoppolo ends up in Seattle, then I would be torn on how much I hate them. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I could live with them as the picking first next year. Into it.
Nice. Into it. All right. We're into all this. Enjoy the draft. This is our mock draft, little fun stuff. You got the Cherry Stripe boys here. You got Joe DeLeon of Believe in NFL Draft Prospects live on the Believe channel. And of course, Tracy Sandler of Fangirl Network and the Tracy Sandler Show. We'll see you guys next time. Hit your free throws and good luck to your teams.